Something sinister lurks in the shadows. Something deep, dark, deadly. Something we should all be afraid of.
The city of Scaranthel harbors a secret enemy, a threat that endangers the entire world of Arendor.
Only a few know of its existence. Even fewer seek it out. And among these, only 10 have a chance of learning the truth.
They do not know what peril lies ahead of them, but one thing is certain. If they fail, Arendor will fall. Once again, welcome back to Tabling the Narrative, a World Anvil-sponsored podcast where we shine the light on scenes, characters, and lore that make a good story into a great one. We're your hosts. I'm Jen.
And I am Sage. Okay, so here's the rundown for today's episode. First, we're going to take a look at some of our cast's favorite moments from these most recent sessions for our ongoing Daggerheart campaign, Oathfyre. Then we have got a special look behind the scenes of our live streams.
We'll also interview the cast, put a spyglass on some specific scenes, and finish off with some interesting facts about the cast and characters that you never even thought about asking.
All right, so let's start off with Castlights. We're going to show a few clips from these recent sessions, all hand-picked by the cast. So, the first one I want to mention is Shurian and Mist in Team 1's session, doing this kind of like tag team for Daggerheart tag team in midair. I thought that was so cool.
Going to initiate the tag team.
Okay.
Because I had the
tag
hope.
teams in a row. Just, you both roll attacks if that's what you're trying to do.
Can I use my... Oh, nice. What is it? What is it?
It's a critical success.
Yay! I rolled a 25 with hope.
Oh, I thought you were going to say two
Cool.
crits.
Yeah, 29 with hope.
Would you like to take the 29 with hope or the critical success for your attack?
Critical success.
I think we're going to take the critical.
So, just as a friendly reminder to everybody, the way that we roll critical damage is you take the maximum possible roll for your damage dice, and then you add the rolled value of your damage dice. And then because this is a tag team roll, we add that shit together. And we apply that to the Vornicrave. We also do, and I feel like it's probably prudent to mention this, we also do the optional massive damage rule. So if you double the severe damage, you can do 4 hit points worth of damage. So as you walk me through how this critical strike lands on this Vornicrave, as Sharon is hanging on to his sword, which is stuck in the mouth, and you start flying downward.
He's so Shurian with one hand is going to grab one side of the Vornicrave's head, and then once he's got like his, once he's got his grip in it, he's going to grab the other, and he's just going to try and squeeze its skull as hard as he possibly can, and then just basically try and shake it around, get it off balance, and give an opening to Mist for the final blow.
And then Mist comes flying down using, the speed from the fall fly damage, right? And then just kind of hits perfectly on that joint and it just snaps. Can it fall off? Can it hang?
What, its head?
No, I'm doing the wing.
Oh, the wing. Oh, I'm sorry. He was holding.
I mean, it can affect. It can ripple up to the head some. I'm just saying, it could do
So
that.
Break its back.
Just
Yeah,
a point of
you could do-
clarity, you were coming down from 60 feet, but you moved to 30 to attack. So in that movement, you were just So as you come down and you just bare knuckle this thing in the shoulder, as Sharon is like canting its head to the side, and you deliver this strike. It took 4. So 165 was the total number of damage. Now you said there was a push involved as well, right?
Yeah, so it shoves him down 10 to 30 feet.
Okay.
So as you deliver this large bone cracking attack to the shoulder, you hear as the arm just sort of like twists and turns, and you hear this loud screech as it comes flying backwards. Still clinging to this thing's body though is Shirian, but as it falls down, just completely disoriented from this huge attack, and as you begin to slowly fall down, you can see in the distance this thing just rocket towards the ground. And falling from close range, both Shirian and this monster take 1d20 plus 5.
Okay.
12 plus 5, 17 damage. In the case of the Vornicraith, it is an additional point.
What I would like to do is, as Shurian is falling with this creature, once he gets into far range, I would like to kind of extend my hand as quick as I can, reach for him, and as I do that, and then I'd like to have like a ghostly hand just kind of extend forward so that I can touch him, and then I cast that spectral mist, so he goes incorporeal. Which also makes him immune to physical damage on top of like switching back after he passes through an object.
So as they're plummeting to the ground, you sort of reach out with this spectral energy, and it wraps around Shirian, and he turns into this incorporeal form and just falls right through, then slowly resurfaces. And as the Vornicraith goes crashing down directly below.
I loved that. I actually picked that one. And in general, I really just loved the combat that we had as Team One. Everyone just like worked together really well. It was kind of like us figuring out how to move together as a team. That's obviously not like a specific highlight, but I just wanted to mention that. I thought it was so cool. Go watch the episode if you haven't already. So, all right, look, when I was picking Castlights, I was like, in our session, there were so many that I just loved because there was a lot of detail and a lot of like callbacks to the Shattered God, to which Jen and I also played in. So I'm going to list these off, and we're going to have Ghost pick which one or ones that he wants to include. All right, look, so we had Raish Thalris from the Shattered God, kind of literally like a guide-ish in the Shattered God for our characters, right? We had Raish coming in, which was so cool to me.
It's very nice to meet you, Em. My name is Raish. You may call me Founder, if you'd like. Some people do. You don't need to.
He literally mentioned Saint Flicker, which is actually Hal's previous character, Halm, from the Shattered God.
You know, I used to know a guy who was splendid. Used to call him Saint Flicker. Interesting fellow.
He mentioned something like saying Echo willing, right? Like referring back to Echo as a god, which again, Jen actually played.
I mean, you know I'm not good at stealth.
Echo, protect me. You're going to drive me to an early grave.
I loved Raish, like going to the side and talking to Elam.
Are you sure? He seems to be talking to himself. Could you speed it up, please? Oh my God, 20 years of this. Honestly, you could take any form you want. Why a fun girl?
And obviously nobody could hear what Elmd was saying, but it was so funny to me. I also I was getting tea from the bartender at the inn where my character M met Raish. And I went to the bartender, was like, hey, you got any tea? And I told him the tea smells like soup, which is I just had to do my personal reference to the Shattered God.
I can't heat the water, but it's like it's cold tea here. It's mushrooms from the apothecary down the way, so please enjoy. Just
Kind
one
of-
gold if you...
Yeah, this kind of... It smells like soup.
Ghost actually followed that up in Team 2 with like an interaction with Dipper where he was at the same inn talking to the same bartender, getting the same tea that had mushrooms in it. Raish actually mentioned Dipper in Team 1, calling back to like, hey, I met this guy, the scroll's safe, whatever.
Yes, I met a boy earlier today who I believe has it safely locked away. No worries there. Strange boy, actually. Calling him a boy might be not right either. It's not for you to be concerned about.
And this was hilarious to me. There was also a scene, right, in Team 2 where after Im had already had their interactions with Raish, Raish was like talking to Dipper, and Dipper put this mushroom in Raish's mouth, and Raish turns to this like not there element, right? And is like, I'm sorry, he put it in my mouth.
I take a mushroom from my tea and just slightly push it into his mouth. Like, for your breath.
I
don't know, Nathaniel. I'm very sorry. It seems you've mistaken me for somebody else.
I
Do
don't
you
need
know
these
many people
anymore.
that are lightly
Sorry,
purple?
he put it in my mouth. Gosh.
Who are you talking to? You keep
No.
looking over your shoulder.
No one of that you need to be concerned with.
Because if you didn't know, Elmd is a fungal, so he's a mushroom person. Anyway, that was a lot of things. Some really great stuff happened these past 2 episodes. Some stuff I found hilarious and some just like great stuff. So anyway, I thought that was fucking funny. I'm so sorry, boss.
It was hilarious. I really do love all the little bits and pieces of all of the just, it's beautiful. So like if you weren't here for the Shattered God, you could check out the podcast like on your travel days and stuff like that so that you can understand how hilarious it is and be there with us in these moments. You mentioning Raish talking to Dipper and Dipper putting a mushroom in his mouth brings me to one of Team 2's Castlights, which is when Dipper completely baffled Raish.
You hear voices, yes? Maybe you feel compelled to do things that you otherwise wouldn't.
Yes, I hear voices when people talk, and I feel compelled to help people. Also, the stars guide me. But that's not, it's like a voice, but kind of not, but it's like a sense.
Okay. And
Like,
when
when you really need to take a poop and your body tells you you need to?
Yes.
It's like that. It's an urge.
Oh, an urge. Okay. All right. Well, maybe you're not quite ready.
To poop? No. TMI, but I'm pretty sure I went when I was tiding one over, I think was the phrasing.
Tying one over. All right. Well, maybe we'll have a conversation at a later date. But until then,
But what was it you needed help with?
give you this warning.
Like, I feel like considering how well versed Raish is in general, like knowledge of things, he had no idea how to handle this person. He was like, but like, what if this, like every single time he tried to get to him, it didn't work. So he was like, you know what? When you need me, this is where I'll be. Okay.
You also, so this was another of Team 2's Castlights, but I'm going to let Jen explain them about the jailbreak in Team 2's episode.
Yeah. My favorite parts about the jailbreak were whenever like the chains had snapped and like everyone started like sliding out of the room. It was hilarious.
As this platform is going upward, and you kind of see the artificer's just not looking great. All of his mechanical beings that he's created are entangled or otherwise engaged. And as this thing comes up, you feel this like sudden jerk as it stops because two of the chains have snapped and the entire platform falls sideways.
Oh boy.
And everyone starts to try to hold on.
What exactly are we doing as a group? Just out of curiosity.
Trying not to fall.
So as this thing kind of moves and you start sliding backwards, Balo got a 30 plus 4, so 34 total.
I kind of have something I want to do too, because there's the thing that's sparking next to me. Can I whip that, which will swing me down to where I think the button is for the gate or the door?
Okay.
Is that all? I could swing down. Can I hit the button to the door so it's not wide open and hanging downwards?
Cinematically, can we say that Dipper fell down beside Ballo and like sliding down with their axe, and then use their hand to like swing him over?
Yeah, absolutely. So you put your axe down and sort of slid down the way, and using your axe to slow your descent as it sort of like the whole chain vault slid sideways, and you grab onto Ballo and swing him up to an area where he can whip onto the little sparking diode and move on and hit the button. The problem is that all of those adversaries failed their rolls, so they are all also falling down to the doorway that you just closed.
How's the artificer?
He is not doing great, but he's slid down. He failed his roll. So as this thing began to fall, he's just in this metal contraption, right? Like he is like probably not the most agile. As he begins to fall forward, lifts off of his feet and just goes plummeting downward. Maybe he bounces off Cal's cage as he falls, just as Balo goes and closes the door. Actually, I will let the dice decide if he made it in time.
I'll roll for it.
All right, you're going to be rolling against 21 DC. That's his evasion.
Add 21.
That's double 12s.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, crit. Nice. He's done.
Or he's alive.
Double Daggerheart symbols.
I will do you one better, as they all
Could the door
have failed
close
to roll.
on him?
All of the adversaries are all sort of falling in unison as they've all failed to roll. He begins to fall. The vines begin to break around the same time. He's gone. The rest of these, tell me how this happens as they're all falling towards the door.
So I'm not quite clear. Is the door shutting before they get to it or after, or is it?
You rolled a crit. You can have it be whatever you want.
All right. As I think the four or the group of those guys will fall straight out, and the other guy was like the artificer guy was way up higher, so it took a little longer to fall down there. And I think as he's going down, Bello hits the button and the door closes like on his arm as he's falling out of it. So he's dangling, or probably crushed arm, hanging on the other side of the door.
Outstanding. So he's just like, so like as he hits all these things on the way down, he's taken some damage. So his hit points are done, but the arm gets locked in this door. So he's just dangling there, unconscious.
I was like, what? Like, there were just all these people just sliding, and he rolled. And it just so happened, the dice decided, right, that like all the bad guys fell out. And all the good guys stayed in. Good guys. We don't really know that much about a couple of them right now. And there could be ulterior motives we don't understand. But, yeah, when they just started sliding out, I found it so funny. And then they were like, we got to go. Like, I can teleport us. If you want to leave, you got to be near me. And then, like, someone was screaming for help off to the side. And Dipper, doing as Dipper does, another one of my favorite parts of that whole jailbreak was when Dipper is like, okay, I know I gotta leave, but like there's a person. So he's like, last ditch effort. I'm just gonna toss this right in there. And
You know what? It's been really, really loud. There's a lot going on. Why don't you make an instinct roll to perceive and see what you can hear?
Well, okay. That is a 22 with hope.
Okay, take your hope. You can start to hear from one of the vaults, you start hearing some like someone's pounding for help.
Okay, so there are other people trapped in here.
At least one. There is 2 chains left. Just to throw that out there.
Yes, so we better act quickly before. We better act quickly before.
Let's get this straight. I'm teleporting out of here.
And
if you're close, you get to come with me.
Yeah, this is a jailbreak. I do think, as much as it would be nice to save that person, if we can do it in one action, maybe.
This is the cell. I'll show it on stream here. This is the cell in which you hear knocking.
We could take one more.
Can I quickly try and do, throw my axe out? I think I'm within close range of that cell, and just try and strength into the lock of it or something to break it open. We're going quick. I'm gonna spend a hope for selfless courage.
Okay.
Can I spend a hope to help out?
Absolutely, help an ally. The DC for this is going to be 17.
That's a 4.
4.
Okay.
I have a +2 because of selfless courage. 21, I believe, would be the final number.
All right, 21 is successful. Tell me how you do this. I'm going to gain that fear.
I'm going to whip my... I'm going to take my axe and I'm going to actually use my regular strength instead of relying on it flying.
I'll drift down and basically stabilize you with one claw.
Gives me the leverage to be able to throw this thing as hard as I can. It slams into the lock, hopefully causing it to crack open.
All right, so as you come up and you absolutely just decimate this dial on it, which does not seem like it should be the right solution for this. But as it happens, you hear and the door slides open, and as you are there, you can see that there's an older Dracona, like sort of green scales. Looks like he's wearing very scholarly robes that have just been very, very worn. There's blood. They're torn. It looks like he's been through a lot, possibly been tortured, and you can see that he's just reaching an arm out as well.
But yeah, and then it turned out being someone that is actually helpful.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that actually later in our scene study. And after Team 2 had actually they had gone into the jailbreak to save Kale, long story. And Kale came back. And Meadowlark and Kale were supposed to have this meeting to discuss cartography in Team 2's very first session on their own. And that didn't really happen. Meadowlark was supposed to immediately leave. There were literally guards coming after them, banging on the door. Meadowlark is but we were supposed to talk about this. So this is the person.
I knew exactly where you were going with that.
This is the same person that Meadowlark had talked to in that episode. In Team 2's most recent session, Meadowlark's I told you we were going to meet and talk again.
Told you I wanted my meeting.
Yeah.
It was great. It's beautiful.
All right. And that is going to end our Castlights for today. But we are not done showing off the cast just yet. So,
keeping the focus on our cast, we're going to show you a little inside look at what goes on behind the screen during our live play sessions.
Roll the tape, Ghost.
How did you feel like this session went?
Very well, honestly. Even though we rolled complete dog doo,
I was like,
I think strategically,
is Farkram only reading us one die? No.
no, exactly. That's how I felt too. No, strategically, I think we worked together very well. Took advantage of the tag teams. I used Juice to their full extent. Everybody chipped in evenly. I felt like no one really hogged that spotlight. And we overcame the odds.
You did.
Only because of the lava. We would have died.
Oh, I thought I was dead.
It went better than I thought it was going to.
It
Yeah,
was
somewhat.
Pretty much what I was anticipating. Yep.
I did not expect to.
Except for the whole thing going sideways and all that. That was cool.
Yeah,
I was
that
gonna-
pretty cool.
It's like, man, if this thing falls, they're kind of screwed, right? Like,
What would have happened had the teleport not worked? Thank you, Ballo, for saving us all.
you'd be taxiing on Meadowlark's back to someplace.
Oh,
Exactly.
I had a backup too. I had my magical beanstalk we all could have jumped on, but
Very nice.
that would have been cool.
Oh,
I do think
wow.
just having somebody in there upped the stakes as well. Of shit, we need to rescue somebody on top of everything. That was fun,
I get my meeting.
especially because we were like worried about how long do we have before this thing breaks. Like I could see Valo was like, "Get the fuck over here." But Dipper's like, "I ain't no man left behind." Part of me was even like upset that we couldn't have rescued the artificer. Like,
This is
After Aaron's
100%.
speech,
Yeah, I mean, this is 100% how I expected it to go. Like, I knew we were going to rock it. I knew. The players, once you get them into a combat, you can, look, you can throw all these different complications. That's what makes things interesting. You should make it hard. Because that's when it pushes us to start realizing we better do a tag team. We better do X. We better do Y. We better do, these things to start to work together. So it was the difficulty that pushed us to it. But I knew we were going to, I don't know, maybe one of us was going to die, but, and maybe, there's probably going to be a combat where, it's going to look bad. It's going to look worse than this. This is just the opening. This is the opening volley. The other thing I noticed about this session, I love the lore drops because this is where you get to leverage the previous season starts to come into play in all these ways. And I was a watcher. I was a viewer of the first season. So if I had just been watching today, I love it when you have these callbacks, but they're done in a smart way. It's not, oh, look, here's Raish. He's tending the bar. No, he's got a real thing to do, and to it was done in a very smart way. And I really, as a viewer, I really appreciated how that all went down. That was an amazing scene.
I did purposefully do what I did with the Accords so that literally nobody in the group knows where exactly it is, which does provide us some protections against truth spells or potentially even getting searched. The way it's hidden right now will make it a bit harder if somebody tries to find it on us. But it also has a really unique thing of if we want to get it out, we don't know it's on us. Even that, it's why us outside of us want to be good?
I admit that's kind of why I was trying to push that a little bit. I'm going to follow the plot wherever the plot goes, but I'm still always interested in... Meadowlark has alternative motivations here, and they have...
we definitely do, for sure. Ultimately, we're trying to find a kid.
Yeah.
And I want revenge.
The thing that threw me for the biggest loop, which I like, the thing that threw me for a biggest loop was communing with Im's otherworldly being. That's what that I was okay, I wasn't really expecting that, but now I'm imagining different things. So theories about the Vornicraith and the whole plot of the Emperor, I have no idea right now. However, I'm starting to, I don't know. I liked that because I think it's going to influence the way that I play M.
Your motivations are split.
Yeah.
I feel like going behind the screen and seeing all of these interactions and shared thoughts among the cast really shows that there's more to Oathfyre than what you see on the surface.
I think it's the same with stories or whole worlds like Arendor, right? A story isn't really a story without all of these little behind the scenes puzzle pieces that have to be put together. And a world isn't really a world until all of the moving parts come together.
World Anvil sponsored this episode of Tabling the Narrative, and it's actually something that's helped us put together both the story of Oathfyre and the world of Arendor itself.
Yeah, so using worldanvil.com, you are able to piece together aspects of your story, things like character profiles. You can, plot points and timelines. If you're creating a whole world, you can use it to craft different settings or create a world structure or summarize historical events or really, honestly, a lot more.
If you're a story creator or a world builder, worldanvil.com can really help you with everything you need to bring your vision to life.
Right now, worldanvil.com actually has an annual membership. Any annual membership is currently 51% off if you use the code Ghostlight.
Just in case you didn't catch that, there's a link in the description for you.
But for now, let's focus back on the cast and their characters.
We're heading back under the table. All right, so Christian, how many friends has Dipper made at the Bazaar Inn area?
How many friends have I made at the bazaar?
Yeah, has Dipper made?
I think the answer is probably lying somewhere between 10 and 30.
Sounds about right.
It depends on your definition.
I wonder if he has
friends.
Okay, what if it was Dipper's definition of friends?
Oh, but like 50, 60.
Gotcha, understood, yeah.
Everybody in the room. Everybody who I've passed by and smiled at.
That actually has something to do with the question I was going to ask later, but I'll go ahead and ask it now. So this past episode, Dipper gave a little memento to someone he had just met that was apparently helping his friends out. But we kind of met him in the heat of the moment, doesn't really know much, right? Does he give little mementos to everyone? Is there like a threshold for like if they do something for my love, my apple, or whatever, right? Then he gives little mementos away?
I think a lot of the stuff that I carry and what I have on myself is things that I've picked up and used or reused to try and make it so that it has new use to it. So if I have a trinket and I see somebody and they seem like they're gonna need it or it will make them happy, there's no cutoff. Like in the entire season, you see how free I am with gold. That's because I'm just viewing gold as another thing that I found somewhere. If giving somebody a button is gonna give them the same happiness, why wouldn't I do that?
Right. Yeah, makes sense. So gold is just other trinkets to give people little mementos.
I don't understand why everyone's so happy with it. It's just a medal.
Neither do I, darling. Neither do I. It's not even a good metal.
There's not even decorations on it, like...
It's so soft, it bends so easily.
Total trash.
You can't use it as, like, tips of arrows or anything,
It's a superconductor. Don't get me going into physics, but...
Wait, this piece of dynamite will make you happy, strange enemy? All yours.
Where exactly does Dipper go when he's in those trance-like states? Like, what's happening in his brain?
Imagine the scene from Limitless where he's got like math equations and stuff flying around in his head. Except instead of that, it's like stars and galaxies and stuff kind of like rushing past, like suns nearby and stuff like that. It is something you would experience if you did way too many mushrooms. But then as that's happening, it's more than that. It's like a language is being spoken to him. So it's almost like he's having a conversation with the greater cosmos.
Nice, nice. It's very interesting. All right. So this was actually asked, I believe. Okay, this one, I feel like the answer might be obvious, but also at the same time, it might not be because it's Dipper. So who knows? Is there something that happened in Dipper's past that made him not like it when people are somber and he wants to fix it?
Honestly, not particularly. That is more of just a quirk of his. His past was actually for the most part, fairly happy. There was one traumatic moment, and then there was the shattering, but had like a loving family and all that stuff. And then meeting Meadowlark was another happy moment. Meeting Reyna was another happy moment. For him, I think it's more... Have you ever met a kid that's just like super simple-minded but super sweet at the same time? Like, some kids are just...
Probably, yeah.
They're just mean. Some kids don't have that, like, super empathy, but other kids have this, like, extreme empathy about them. Dipper kind of just never outgrew that.
Gotcha. That's pretty cute. Okay. Ooh, okay. Most of these are my questions. I had forgotten that I wrote this one down. All right. So this kind of feeds into what you just said. You spend a lot of time helping people, right? Probably because you have that empathy, you want to make other people have happy moments, right? You're willing to throw yourself into harm's way to save them, which you have done more than once since the series has started. You have your axe and you've used it to great effect, but not to harm people, right? You did the like dancing thing, I think, with it. Then you like threw it at that lock, right? Have you ever had to take a life before, Dipper? Not you.
Yes.
Okay, so whenever Reyna found that one drunk guy in the alleyway, was trying to get Lev some clothes. What was her deciding factor? This is actually like a three-parter. What was her deciding factor to get the cloak from that random person versus trying to buy one?
Ghost, our DM, had told me I looked around and nothing appears to be open. Rena's got pretty sharp eyesight, so chances are there's nothing open. So it's not that he was forcing me into that position. Yeah, I could have tried to break into a store or whatever, but like in my mind, I seen it as, okay, here's this opportunity. I know there's drunk people around. We could do something really funny. So I said, okay, I'm just going to look for a person from the roof that's, his size and yada, yada, and the rest is history. Nice. So poor fellow, but we did pay him.
Yes,
and I was nice enough to cover him in garbage bags afterwards.
Did Meadowlark already know about Lev's lost family whenever they were like having that moment and he was explaining like, hey, like I've lost, my family?
Yes.
Did Meadowlark already know that?
Yes. So first time they met, there were prison bars between them. Lev might have been looking after a cell which Meadowlark and the others were in. But Lev drinks, and when Lev drinks, Lev talks. And when Lev talks...
So there was a moment whenever Reyna was making a plan, whenever they were like, come downstairs, they need you down here now. And they're like, okay, you're turning into that, you do this, you do that. I'm going to get changed into this outfit, It was made kind of... Reyna had made a statement. I can't remember the exact wording of it. But what exactly is the ladylike history that Reyna has?
As far as ladylike stuff, very little. She was raised by her father, never met her mother. She doesn't really know what happened to her mother. Her father said he'd tell her one day, and that's where it got left off. Because, I'm sure he did plan to, but, he's no longer with us, sadly. So very little ladylike stuff. Although, she hasn't lived in a box. She travels a lot. She got to witness a lot of how women live, but in the same right, she herself, I'm sure her father tried, and whoever she met along the way.
So how did it feel when Lev wanted to talk to Meadowlark and he like opened his heart and like showed all his scars and all that kind of stuff, and they were in that moment? It's similar to the previous question, but now I want to actually dive into that moment when he was really digging in and talking about how he doesn't want to die for a lie, and all that kind of stuff. What was Meadowlark thinking during those moments?
Well, Meadowlark is honestly probably, in some ways, one of our more happy-go-lucky characters when it comes to how they approach strategy. There's a reason that probably they are a little bit more fast and loose with their life than other people, and there's a reason that they haven't had a chance to let themselves go in the same way as other members of the party yet, and I'm still not sure how much they would or would not if they were given the chance. It was interesting feeling a lot of the more defensive layers more from oneself than one from the rest of the world peeled back, and that one did require some flaying to get through to the core. By the end of it, she was not happy. She was feeling the pain of everything that had happened so far. She was taken back to exactly what she was doing here and why she was doing it.
Yeah.
Let's switch it up here. We're giving actually a lot of attention to the cast and characters here. And they're really what makes oathfyre. But I also want to dissect a few key scenes before we get back to that.
And this makes it the perfect time to discuss some significant moments of our recent oathfyre sessions. It's time for scene study.
Okay, so we're going to dissect a scene here. This was at the very end of Team 1's session. This was my character talking to Raish Fowris, who gave us a lot of really important information that we kind of need to know, I feel like, to take these next steps to kind of uncover this mystery that's going on. So Raish told us that someone must know the way of the Eidolonare. That, this had to happen for them to mark the beast, change its life cycle, and that they wanted to do this to cause chaos, especially with the Emperor dead. That leads Raish to talking about the Emperor's progressive ideals. So previously, the previous Emperor who had Scaranthel totally closed off. This new Emperor invited, all of these representatives, opened his doors to all of these different kingdoms. And this was not popular in certain parts of the Imperium. There are a lot of people who believe that the people who are not of Dracona descent are just kind of below the Dracona. And the Primarch of Ash are essentially Dracona supremacists. So Raish suspects that the Primarch of Ash is likely to have killed the Emperor for his progressive ideals. But he doesn't know why this has happened after the Accords. That leads us to his theory about the Scroll of Cawdrathar, because everyone who all of the representatives of the kingdoms who came to Scaranthal for the Accords were essentially told to bring certain relics. And that is kind of what brought the Scroll of Cawdrathar to Scaranthal in the first place. So the theory here, what Raish is getting at, is that the Primarch of Ash waited to kill the Emperor after the Accords so that the Scroll of Cawdrathar and these relics were present. And then he gives us some really cool information about the actual pact. It was never broken. The idea currently, current knowledge in Arendor is that during the Shattering, the first pact among the kingdoms was broken. And that's true in a broken among mortals sense, is what Raish says, right? However, the magic of the old gods is still in the pact itself. So this pact is essentially, its true power here is to keep Naruthir at bay. Naruthir is the realm of Aaron's first creations, the first kind of failed monsters, essentially the Threnkai, right? So the pact pushes away Naruthir from Arendor. So Raish's question here then becomes, okay, so who exactly wants the scroll pact broken? It's important because the scroll is essentially the last line of defense from the old gods. So I'm going to talk about Im's vision, but first, Jen, I want to get your thoughts on all of the information that Raish kind of gave us.
Yeah. So, okay. We've known from the beginning, ever since we looked at Oathfyre as we were prepping for Oathfyre. So it was our third episode of Tabling the Narrative, where we were talking about like the different aspects of, Drakarn, Scaranthale, like what was it going to be like when we were there and stuff like that. We talked about a lot of the different groups that are in Arendor as a whole now. One of them being, the Eidolonari. But it was mentioned then, we did learn about how there were people that were against them opening their doors because they believed that they were better than everybody else. There are some aspects of this that are a little bit real. But anyways, whenever he said that he suspects that someone wanted him dead for his beliefs, but they don't know why it was brought up after the Accords. Me personally, I don't know if it is the Dracona that are doing it. It's difficult for me because I know about the Eidolonari. Because it has to be someone that knows about the Eidolonari. This is some random little outpost of the Eidolonari. It was mentioned in one of the interviews we had with Ghost about how, maybe she's being punished for something because she's in some random outpost in some random location. Because, there isn't a strong presence of Eidolonari here. And if it was one of the Supremists that were doing that, right? How did they know Eidolonari stuff? There's no link to me. I don't see the link between the two of them. Now it could be that, I'm sitting here thinking, well, the Dracona can't be Eidolonari. It doesn't make sense for this area to be void of Eidolonari. If there's one here, it's weird. So it's odd to me. It's something about it just doesn't sit right. But he could still be working with an Eidolonari that's not Dracona. But that also doesn't sit right because of the whole, they think that they're above other people. But then if they're just viewing them as them using a person, I guess it's fine. But yeah, so that part doesn't sit well with me. I'm not fully convinced that it is. Still could be, and I'm just missing pieces to the puzzle that haven't been revealed yet, but I'm not fully convinced. And then as far as the scroll of Kalchathar is concerned, I had mentioned during one of the episodes, I don't know, and I don't even know if it made it into the recording, but I had mentioned how I thought that the pact was broken and stuff like that. But then I was saying to add to that, all of the leaders of all of these kingdoms and nations and stuff were also dead. So it's not just that the scroll, that the pact is broken, but the people who wanted the peace in the first place are broken. And this basically kind of proves that even more, because there never was a peace that truly kept the mortal nations together. That's not what it was for. That's not what the magic was for. The magic was for this last line of defense against, the Thrin-Kai. But I thought that was neat, that I was basically kind of proven right, that it's really about the bonds of the people and their wants and desires and everything just being upheavaled from the shattering that started making it to where the people themselves stopped acting on the pact. I'd like the idea that the scroll wasn't needed for the level of peace that they had, which means it's possible to do it again. So
Yeah, that's very true. No, I think you make a lot of good points about like addressing those two issues, right? I think you make a lot of sense about like the question of the connection between the scroll, the Emperor's death, the Eidolonare, like someone who knows about Eidolonare, just information and practices being involved in the Emperor's death, and just like that everything you said is very interesting to me. I think that's a big question too. Some of these ties make sense and that one just kind of doesn't. I think we did talk about the difference between the pact magic and this kind of mortal this choice, right, to make this pact amongst the actual kingdoms. I feel like we did talk about that. And I kind of like that too. I like what you said about it meaning that there's a possibility of the kingdoms being able to ally together again without, without some magical like thing.
It's the magic of friendship.
Oh no. Im has this vision of it being the time like during the shattering or really after the shattering. This is actually the final episode of the Shattered God, when the new gods are kind of standing and reforging Arendor, right? Bringing all these realms kind of together from where they had been shattered before, but it's not totally reforged, right? And essentially, Raish is telling us that the scroll is the last line of defense against, something bad coming. So Narathir is one of those realms that was not brought into Arendor itself in the reforging. However, it could if the pact scroll magic is broken. And then Raish kind of gives us a little bit of a thing to go off of, or rather that someone wanted the Emperor dead, and that's where we should start. This kind of, a lot of this information was also shared with Team 2 at the end of their session. Team 2 essentially breaks out Kale and the former Grand Archivist, who's one of the Grand Mages in the Assembly of the Imperium, Taz, from the prison within the Imperium. And Kale is the one who gave Meadowlark the Scroll of Caldrothar in the first place, right? Out of desperation. Kale gives a little bit of information, right? She starts saying that the Emperor will never stop and is very surprised when Reyna tells her that the Emperor is dead. She wants the scroll to get out of the city because we're not safe here. She also mentions that she fears that everyone that she thought was an ally on the council itself is against her. So essentially, Kale is telling us she thought the Emperor was involved with the Scroll of Caldrothar wanting to be broken, right? She thought the Emperor was involved, but he wasn't. And she's desperate to get this scroll out of the city. I think she says it multiple times and is just stressing that we're not safe here. It's not safe here. And they tell us here that they think that the Primarch of Ash or corrupted different agents are within all facets of their government here. So Kale ends up asking Taz, what do you know? And Taz again shares the information with Team 2. Okay, just to be clear, Team 1 and Team 2 are totally separate, right? They're on totally different adventures. And they're kind of we've got two kind of storylines coming together here. So Taz tells the former Grand Archivist, tells them that he can almost guarantee that it was the Primarch of Ash who killed the Emperor. He explains again how the Primarch of Ash is essentially kind of like a cult, half political organization. They're Draconis supremacists. They think that the Emperor opening up the gates of Scaranthal and Dracarn to other peoples is just very progressive, kind of angers them, and may have led them to act. At least this is what Taz says. He also tells them again that the magic of the scroll is still alive, that the pact of the mortals was broken, but the oathfyre magic protecting this like protecting the realms from this great evil of Narathir, right, is still alive. And that he also tells Team 2 that the Primarch of Ash wants to break this pact for real, that the representative bringing relics is related, that they probably killed the Emperor, and all of these things. So essentially they give almost the exact same information to Team 2.
Yeah, I am see, I don't understand. I have no idea what in the world someone would want from let's just bring all the Frenkai here at once. It'll be great.
Yeah. That's a really good point. Like, if the Primarch of Ash are Dracona supremacists, like, how does that connect to, or even if it's someone else, like, but how does that specifically connect to, like, yo, let's bring Narathir as a realm into Arendor?
I have a theory that just popped in my brain. Okay, so what if, because he had mentioned something about how the cult had made its way into all different levels of politics everywhere, right? Grand mages? Maybe it's both. And their purpose, since they're like supremacists, right? What if they have found a way to shield their area specifically from the Thrinkai, and their goal is literally to kill everyone else?
It's definitely a possibility.
It's a little extreme. They need to calm down if that's the case. It's a bit much.
Yeah, I think
there's much.
And with that, we conclude today's episode of Tabling the Narrative, but the story of Oathfyre continues.
With everything that we talked about today, I really feel like both of our parties are at crucial moments in the story.
Yeah, both Team 1 and Team 2 have put together another piece of the puzzle here, and I have a feeling we're going to get more answers in our next sessions.
Which means we'll have even more to discuss in our next episode.
But for now, thank you for joining us for another episode of Tabling the Narrative.
We'll see you next time.